What's up, readers and readettes? Welcome to Me, You, and a book review. I can't do intros. I do think that I'm gonna start a little channel, and if I do, I kind of like that name. Me, You, and a book review. Is it grammatically correct? I don't think so. Does it rhyme? And is it cute? Yes, so I'm sticking to it. We are gonna be talking about Mad Mabel by Sally Hepworth. I read about the first 15-ish chapters, and I did write some notes that I'm gonna review with you guys real quick. I'm gonna try not to read like this, like a little robot, which is hard for me to do, to look at the camera, but I'm gonna practice. But I can tell you right now, there's gonna be times where I still look down. I can't help it, so take a shot every time I do, I guess.
Julian! I don't know where I felt like I get a little drink around here, do you, bud?
This book follows 81-year-old Mabel Waller, who now goes by Elsie Fitzpatrick. Elsie and her roomie slash best friend named Daphne, they're chilling in their house one day, and a note slips under the door. They think that it's a note from one of their neighbors. Elsie looks at it. Turns out to be a newspaper article. We don't know what it is yet, but you can tell that the newspaper article has Elsie in like a tiz. So they're chilling on their porch. As Elsie's ruminating about this article, a 7-year-old child named Persephone, who lives in the neighborhood, she comes up and she's like, "Hey, Miss Elsie, I gotta do an interview for school with an old person." And Elsie's like, "What's that gotta do with me?" And she's like, "You're old."
What, bitch? What?
Elsie said, "Be gone, gremlin. Go interview my neighbor. He's like 93 years old. He's got a lot more stories than I do." And Persephone was like, "Oh, that neighbor over there? He's dead." And Daphne and Elsie are like, "What are you talking about?" Persephone was like, "Dogs been barking more than usual. No one's seen this man in days, and the mail on his porch has been piling up." Sure enough, Elsie goes over there to check on him. She finds him dead on the floor. The medics come and they take the body away. They ask Elsie some questions. Here comes nosy nebby neighbor named Joan. Joan suggests to the medics that maybe there's some foul play involved, and she suggests that Elsie has something to do with it. And Elsie was like, "What are you talking about?" And Joan was like, "Yeah, I'm talking about you. You can go ahead and throw down right now, Joan, if you want to. The ambulance is right here. You can get stitched up."
And get stuffed, boy. Love is a must, boy. No, if you buck, boy.
And Persephone was like, "Yeah, I'm the one who suggested that he was dead in the first place." And Elsie was like, "Yeah, question her. Maybe she did it." And Persephone was like... A couple of days later, some police show up at Elsie's door, and they start questioning her about this man's murder. And then before they leave, one of the police officers refers to her as Mad Mabel. Flashback to Elsie's childhood, we learned that some of the neighborhood kids would call her Mad Mabel. Even her own dad referred to her as Mad. Throughout the flashbacks of her childhood, Elsie would often hear other people bringing up this name Kitty, but she doesn't know who they're referring to. Put a pin in that, remember that name. Flash forward a little bit, Elsie's at a summer camp. She gets on this contraption slash like rickety dinky ride called the Flying Fox. And this thing already sounds sus, does not sound safe. So she goes off of this Flying Fox. No flying was involved. She goes straight down. Whee! She up in the hospital with a bunch of broken bones. She's bored. There's no radio, there's no magazines, they don't have TV. All she has is a balcony. One day her mother visits her. Randomly, Elsie asks about this person named Kitty, and her mom was like, "How did you know that name?" She said, "I just been hearing it around." Her mother proceeds to tell her that she used to have a little sister, Kitty, actual government first name Catherine. Mother explains when Elsie was younger that she ended up with polio. Back then, they would separate the family member who had polio, kids included. They would just put them out on the porch.
What?
Lock the door. You stay out there. Wonderful parenting. The mother says that one day she went to go check on Elsie, and she found Kitty on the porch playing with her sister. Mind you, at this time, Elsie is 3.5 years old. Elsie was like, "Well, how did Kitty get out there? If I was on the porch, I was 3.5 years old. The door is locked from the inside. So, and you would need a key. So there's no way that this 3.5-year-old could have opened the door." And the mom was like, "I don't know, but your dad thinks that you did it because you were jealous of your sister."
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
3.5 years old. Okay. The mother also tells Elsie that her dad is leaving on a business trip with a woman named Susan. Elsie was like, "Oh, I know Susan. I met her at one of our house parties." And the mom was like, "Okay, go on." And she was like, "Yeah, I saw her and dad in a room doing stuff." And by the way Elsie is explaining this, you could tell that the dad was cheating on the wife with this Susan character, but you could also tell that Elsie doesn't understand what sex is. She doesn't really know what she was seeing. As she's explaining what she caught her dad doing, the mother gets up, slaps the shit out of her to where there's blood in her mouth. Goes to the balcony, yeets herself right off. Why are we being so dramatic? Anyways, that's all I've read so far. I'm gonna go ahead and take a walk and I'll read some more and review it with you guys later. I'm back.
Oh, Lord. Again.
And we got a lot to go through. So we left off in a flashback where sorry, my dog's trying to get my attention. Where Elsie Mabel's overdramatic mother leapt off of a balcony, killing herself. Elsie Mabel's father waits 2 days after her mother's death before finally visiting her in the hospital.
Grade A parenting, right here, grade A parenting.
He comes into the room talking about, your mother died. No shit, Sherlock. Now he's questioning her, asking, what were you and your mother talking about? And you must have said something to upset her. Athena. While in the hospital, Elsie Mabel reconnects with Daphne, who is a little girl who she became friends with in kindergarten. Daphne had moved, but now she's back and she's in the hospital being treated for TB. Elsie Mabel goes home and she's in the care of her aunt and her aunt's best friend while her dad is on his business trip with his hoe ass Susan. One day after school, Elsie and Daphne see a bonfire at the beach. They decide to go down and instantly Elsie's like not having it because she sees that there's some kids from school and one of them is a bully named Billy Harris. All the kids are playing truth or dare and Billy chooses dare and his dare is to kiss Elsie. Now before she could even say anything, he plants one on her, she pushes him away and he starts to get mad about it. As he's yelling and saying obscenities, she turns to just leave and walk away. He starts chasing after her and calls her a baby killer. Elsie fills with rage and she knows that she's about to do something stupid, so she just takes off running. But he starts chasing behind her. She loses him on the beach and ends up running into one of her teachers named Mr. Lucas. They sit down on a nearby bench, and at first it seems harmless, but then the author put... At first it seems harmless, but there is one detail that the author puts in that I feel like was put there deliberately, and it makes me feel uneasy. The author says he turned toward me so his thigh grazed mine. I don't like that. I may be reading too much into it, but to me that just makes me feel uneasy. Sorry, y'all, I got a bunch of dogs. I also may be looking into it too much, but I don't like how Mr. Lucas also has a dog. My first thought is just the way this is feeling, it feels predator-like. I don't know why he didn't say anything on the beach that was inappropriate. It's just feeling weird to me, and predators, when they have an animal, often use that as like a lure for children. Not saying he did that, what I'm reading so far, he didn't do that, but I don't know, it just makes me feel uneasy. Elsie's aunt ends up finding Mabel and bringing her home, but later that night, they get a knock on the door. It's Billy's parents. They say that Billy never came home. Bum, bum, bum. And his friends say that Elsie was the last one to be seen with Billy. Policemen come, they say they found Billy and he has a brain injury. He ends up not remembering what happened to him. So now all the kids at school are giving Mabel the side eye because they think that she just added another victim to her list. The only one being nice to her are Daphne and this other little boy who was also at the bonfire named Christos, and he apologized for not stepping in whenever Billy was being mean to Mabel. Present tense. The death of Elsie Mabel... I swear I can talk. The death of Elsie Mabel's neighbor, I don't know why that's such a tongue twister for me, has pushed her back into the public eye. 2 reporters end up coming up to her door and they ask for an interview from Elsie Mabel, which she's never given one, and they want to focus on the events of her childhood. We learned that the reason for all the interest in Elsie Mabel is because she became the youngest Australian, I believe at 15 years old, to be convicted of murder. She is reluctant at first, but she eventually agrees to do the interview. During the interview, Persephone comes knocking at the door. She's trying to show Elsie her hula hooping skills. While outside watching, Elsie gets into a kerfuffle with a protester. She ends up being in the hospital with a broken wrist. This woman just cannot stay away from trouble. Daphne and another neighbor named Peter come to check on her while she's in the hospital. Now, it could just be me, but at this point in the book, I noticed that no one else interacts with Daphne. The only person that like talks to her, gestures to her, shows her any type of attention is Elsie. Is she even real? I may just be overthinking this. Elsie eventually makes it back home, and then Roxanne, who is Persephone's mother, comes over and she's like, I need to talk to you. She said, are you really Mad Mabel, the one who was convicted of murder? And Elsie was like, don't want to know me. Roxanne said, you can't be hanging around Persephone no more. And Elsie was like, I ain't mad at it.
Well, guess what?
Roxanne decides to take a job at night, and she thinks, oh, if I just put Persephone, 7 years old by the way, asleep, then I could just go ahead and go to work at night and hurry up and be back before she wakes up.
Yeah, okay.
Persephone's abusive father shows up, waking up the whole neighborhood, and guess who goes over there to save the day? The one and only. So now Roxanne and Elsie make a deal that while she's at work, Elsie will babysit Persephone. Elsie goes to clean out a spare bedroom that she's had that no one's been in up to this point, and you'll never guess what's in there.
Why is this spare bedroom a shrine with a bunch of pictures of Peter? Like random pictures. Him with just random objects going about his day.
Flashback. Elsie's at a church and she describes someone excusing themselves from a pew and walking towards her. This person tells Elsie to follow them. They go through her side door and into a little nook. They spin her around and start making out with her. You'll never guess who it is. Mr. Lucas. They start meeting up on the regular, but Mr. Lucas tells her not to tell anyone because would they have his little secret?
I'll take the prison for 200, Alex.
He told me he loved me.
Die.
That he's never felt that way before.
Die today.
She talks about how she dresses up before she goes and meets him, and she gets so excited thinking about their little secret meetups. Every time I say this man's name or read about him, I fucking drive. One day, she goes to his house unannounced. Guess who opens the door? His fiance. The fiance quickly figures out what's going on. And this bitch says, at least you're not the youngest, and the last one was prettier than you. What the fuck? Later that day, guess who dies? The only thing I'm disappointed in is that we didn't get a fucking 2-for-1 special with that bitch ass fiance of his. Police find out that Elsie Mabel went to Mr. Lucas's house the night that he died. So they come over because they want to question her. News eventually gets out and now everyone knows that she had a relationship with her teacher. And once again, no one is nice to her besides Daphne and the little boy named Christos. Up to this point, Elsie Mabel's father has been living elsewhere with his mistress Susan, and Elsie's aunt and her father have been fighting for custody over the house that they're currently staying in. One day, Elsie comes home from school and she hears her father in their house yelling at her aunt. During the altercation, Elsie's aunt says, "You've been such a shit father that your daughter has to retreat into a fictional world." What's that mean? Elsie runs out of the house, but she ends up coming back later only to find her father has killed her aunt, and he plans to blame it on her.
Bitch!
So she ends up rage killing him.
Nice.
The interview with the reporters conclude, but they mentioned that all her details have been verified and line up, except no one has reports of this Daphne child after kindergarten. They verified that she did go to kindergarten with Elsie, but after that, they said she never actually came back after moving with her family. I love at this point how the reporters interact with her. They tell Elsie that we don't think that you were crazy or mad then, and we don't think you're crazy now. You recognize that Daphne is an imaginary character, correct? And she's like, yes, I do. And she starts crying. Oh my goodness, this is such a good part in the book to me. Elsie also says that even though she recognized that Daphne is imaginary, when you don't have any friends, then you don't complain about the ones that you have, even if you make them up. That is so sad. And these interviewers say, well, that's not true. You're actually surrounded by friends. And if you don't mind, we would like to be your friends as well. Hey, Elsie, didn't you give birth while you were incarcerated? Curveball. Now, due to all the commotion, all the attention that her past has drawn to her, she figures that it's time to get up and move out of this neighborhood so that way she's not bothering any of the other neighbors around her. The reporters are packing up whenever there's a knock at the door. Guess who it is? Peter. Peter starts making up all these excuses about why Elsie can't move until he finally wraps his arms around her and says, "You can't go, Mom." Aww. Later on that night, Elsie wakes up and she hears the sound of broken glass. She looks outside. She sees Persephone's drunk-ass daddy holding her, and he had broken into her house to kidnap her. Elsie runs out of the house to save the day once again. Persephone wakes up in her drunk-ass daddy's arms. She bites him. He drops her ass to the ground. She starts crawling toward Elsie. He raises the gun that he has in his hand and points it at Persephone, and Elsie jumps in the way. Boom, and then she gets shot. It is sad, but it is bittersweet. She didn't die as Mad Mabel and friendless. She died after getting her story out and surrounded by friends and dying, protecting someone that she came to love, which was Persephone. Fucking sucks for Peter, though. Oh, did you finally find your biological mom and you're ready to start a relationship with her?
You got 2 minutes.
Peter ended up inheriting her old house, which is now worth $20 million. The last chapter that we get is from Persephone's POV, and she is talking to her friend Daisy. And her friend Daisy says to her that she knew Elsie, but when she knew Elsie, she called her Daphne, thus continuing the imaginary friend coping mechanism. I really like this book, and I really like that ending. I thought that was a cute ending. Even though I was able to guess some parts of it, I enjoy this. I actually think that this would make a good movie. Overall, I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. And that's it for me until my next review. See you guys.